And I'm live to give my introduction overview of NLP to a select few people. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over to the graphics. So as we can see here, NLP is a system of techniques that have been pillaged from experts. So those people who criticize NLP, you could say to them, so are you saying that these four people were not good? Gregory Bateson, cited a lot by David Kersey, by the way. Victor's probably read him. Milton Erickson, the great hypnotherapist. David Kersey Jr. is on record in a hangout calling him a genius. Virginia Satir, the family therapist, the meta model was based on her ability to bring people together. She may probably a Theta NF, so either an INFP or ENFP. Gestalt therapy. Now, the Gestalt school is the school that Kersey belongs to. So they modelled them, and they had some, and Grinder had some expertise. He was an assistant professor in linguistics, and Bandler was interested in mathematics and psychology and therapy. So you see here, what you've got here, you've got sensory acuity, so basically reading people, use of language, modeling, resources, apparent states, rapport, communication skills, and then the usefulness. So, right, we'll go over some of the terms, some of the bits in Model G. I'll break it down a little bit. There's a little bit of marketing in there. The neuro part, you can read that there. In case anyone's on their phone. Your thinking process is the way you use your senses to understand what's happening around you. Linguistic, your words, how you use language, and how it influences you and those around you. Your behavior, how you organize your ideas and reactions, and how this affects you and others. Right. Let's have a look at the slides. I am waiting for it to pop up, but it's not popping up. So, this is the tote model. Now, Victor referenced this in Model G. I don't know that it correlates that well, but he's sort of just saying, well, all these other models that are accepted have a four steps to them. Why can't mine? So, and then you have the eye accessing cues, which I use for the temperaments. So, this is the best way to remember it. Especially the one at the bottom is just remember, like, bottom left. So this is like looking at somebody else. Bottom left is a big K. Now, I have to say, and it may be my subjective sensor, I have got to say that this drawing of this face, that to me, those eyes, that is an extroverted feeling eyes. Those are eyes that are coming out at the person. I would say that those kind of FE eyes towards an ISTP or an INTP, that would melt their heart. Those kind of eyes. There is energy coming out of those eyes. So remind it as a big K for kinesthetic. And that's what it was in the original book. Right? It just helps you to remind it. Visual construct, visual, auditory construct, visual recall, auditory recall, internal dialogue. The ones that are harder to remember is like which one is which. Kinesthetic, K. Now, even if the person doesn't fit this, what they usually are is consistent. And this stuff is also looked at again in the series Lie to Me, the Paul Ekman series. Right, what else have we got here? Let's go through this diagram. So the idea that, well, this is like the Kantian idea that you have, oh, the map is not the territory. Because for a start, we've only got to have 5 human senses to look at the world. And Douglas Adams made the example of, well, what about the rhinoceros, which has bad eyesight but has a fantastic sense of smell? The rhinoceros's view of time is going to be very different because a lot of those smells are going to be quite old. So, or the way a dog. So so the sense organs are going to be very much a big player. Right, and then we've got here deletions, distortions, generalizations. I'll talk more about that in future. Images, sounds, feelings, and smells, tastes. And then linguistic filters. Right, so I've done this bit, done that one. Right, this. Who's this? Joel Mark Witt. Who's that? It's these two from Personality Hacker. You can see that there. We met at a 5-day NLP conference. Now, what tells me there is the fact that they were actually there in the first place tells me something about them, but also about American culture. Right, here we go, NLP tools. I will try to get rid of the thing, and then I'll zoom in. Right, sense rapport, sensory acuity. Well, yeah, looking at the other person and reacting to them. So if we think about INTJs learning NLP, well, a lot of them are socially oblivious because they are FE break. So FE break, what do we mean by that? Well, let's change that to objective feeling in terms of like ability to read emotions, read the atmosphere of a room, and partly because they don't have a preference for it. So because they don't have a preference for it, they don't practice it, and because they don't practice it, they don't have skill in it. Let's go around the clock, starting with rapport, and then I will read that yourself. Yeah, there's a lot of jargon in this one. Right, meta model. Yeah, questions to recover deletions, distortions, and generalizations. Usually you get a lot of this with conversations between STPs and NFPs. I think the STPs feel that the NFPs leave a lot out and jump to conclusions. Now, every behavior has a positive intention. Right. See, that is very tactical manipulator, SP. Now, artisan. Now, right, that one is quite jargony. So, and I've done that one. I'll do this one in a moment. Let's have a look at this one. Right, communication. Right, so obviously people filter their experiences through their attitudes, values, beliefs, decisions, memories, language. Right, so there are ways to work out people's values and beliefs. This is something I'm sort of looking at the moment. and to get down to it. So this is where Enneagram comes in. You can then work out people's values and beliefs, and are they, you know, it works well together, someone's Enneagram with someone's, like, trying to find out their beliefs and stuff. And the way they represent things to themselves through their values and beliefs. Think about someone's religion. Right. Or if someone's overly political, the lenses that people view the world through. This is more on how it started, certain books. This one, Structure of Magic, a book that both Dario and Victor have read. I believe Victor has also read. He's read Focus into Princes as well. I think he's read that. He's definitely read Structure of Magic. Right, again, these people, Erickson, won't go into that. What am I going to go into? Let's have a look at this. A little bit of the 3-minute seminar of NLP. Oh yeah, the 4 stages of learning. Now to me, this is like the launcher NI in the LSI. And it's like they want it's like, oh, got to have the unconscious competence in the so you got the 4 stages of learning. So it's like conscious incompetence. It's like, so say someone in sport, they become aware of a technical flaw. They work on it, but it's got to become second nature before then they can have the unconscious competence. Right. 3-minute seminar. Very tactical. Very, very artisan this. Very tactical manipulator intelligence. Know what you want. Be alert to keep your senses open so that you notice what you are getting. Thirdly, have the flexibility to keep changing what you do until you get what you want. Outcome, acuity, flexibility. 3-minute seminar, that's it. End of seminar, you can go home now. But then there's more than that. So like I said, his type, just like Dario's type preferences come through, John Grinder's type preferences really come through. And he is both, I mean, to me, I think he models better as ISTP rather than as LSI, because he does like do rock climbing. I mean, I'll have to ask Victor, can an LSI climb a mountain and take risks? Right, the tactical temperament. Right, what have we got here? The more choices, the more chance of success. Right. There. Right, I'll just move on. Now I'll try to explain things. This. Right, let's go round the clock. Emotional intelligence. You see how my wonderful graphics viewer can sort of unblockify things through its magical powers, and I'll read it out as well. Emotional intelligence. We've got history, self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship management. So inter and intrapersonal stuff. Right. Curiosity. Right. History of NLP. The map is not the territory. So it's like, you could say typology. The map is not the territory. I mean, that's if it's, you know, a map is more accurate. It's more like a medieval map, really. cause and effect, deletions, distortions, generalizations, presuppositions, present and desired states. Sensory acuity calibration, yeah, just like I said, very closely watching people and their in terms of that feedback. Again, it's like it's the Paul Ekman stuff. Victor's interested in this. Rapport, matching and mirroring. When people are naturally in rapport, they emulate each other's behavior, but it's not exact, so it doesn't come across as mimicry. And there's a big difference between mimicry and matching and mirroring. So, for example, somebody might, if they scratch their ear, the other person might, half a minute later, brush some fluff off their knee. They're just naturally. And I think one of the best ones of rapport is when people have like similar tone of voice and speak at the same rhythm and volume, things like that. And pacing and leading, I think that's been described by O'Connor and Seymour as pacing is building a bridge for rapport and respect, and leading is changing your behavior so that the other person follows. Right. Representational systems and their relationship to the young Galanko temperaments. Now, the submodalities are different aspects of each representational system. So, and something it says there, mapping across, I don't really know what the Swiss passion is at the moment because I've not looked into it yet. Mapping across representational systems would be, if a kinesthetic person said, oh, I've got a bad feeling about this. So it's like, oh, what would be the equivalent for an auditory person, a visual person, an olfactory person, a gustatory person? Well, the gustatory person actually might say feeling. Oh, this might say, oh, that makes me feel ill. So it's like, what are the equivalents? And I've got a whole list of them in a book. Right. Principles. Anchoring. Circle of excellence. Well, I mean, it's somebody. There's very much like emotion memory. So somebody could go to. Somebody could go to a happy place, a happy time they have, or a sad time, so that they can channel a sad emotion. So emotion memory and acting technique. Circle of excellence. Here's a phrase. Nothing reassures as convincingly as success. You know you can do it. Do it again. Collapso. I don't know what that is. The circle of excellence is right. Reframing. That's what I need, Graham. Sevens do. Right. Strategies. The TOTE model. We've looked at the TOTE model. Test, operate, test, exit. That means you do something to try and achieve a goal. It doesn't work. You think, bloody hell, I'm going to try something different, see what happens. And if it doesn't happen, so it's like trial and error, adjusting. Right. Eliciting strategies. Right. That might have something to do with, we've not up to that stage yet, but eliciting strategies is like their idea of modeling. Looking at people who are good at something, how do they do it? Finding out their process, things like that. What kind of states do they get themselves into? Altering, installing applications. Right, so recently I thought about ENFPs. I had a conversation with an ENFP, and an ENFP going into an ENTJ mode via a beneficiary shift, where it's a case of the ENFP gets into a state of they put the hard work in because they realize, because they think of the benefits, the future opportunities that work will then lead them to. if they put it, so it's like a deferred gratification, and they become enthusiastic for the work because they think of all of the payoffs and all of the things that they could do in a deferred sense, rather than having a more limited number of options for instant gratification. Right. Language, hierarchy of ideas. I've not done that bit yet. Presuppositions, metamodel, multimodal. Multimodal is using language in an artfully vague way so that people read into it. So, for instance, the way Obama used hypnotic language. Metamodel is clarifying language, but not in a way that annoys people. Because usually INTJs and INTPs will use language and clarify the person, but it just comes across as someone being pedantic. Right. Values, well-formed outcomes, values, and goal settings. So this is probably the SMART model. So this is thinking about a goal. It should be specific, because I'm a ISTP, creator of NLP. It should be specific. It should be measurable, so you know whether you got success or not. It should be appealing. Well, duh. It should be realistic and timed. I think that's what it is. Timelines. Right, here we go. In time, through time. In time. That's like an extroverted sensing type being in the moment. And Dr. G agrees that the SE, extroverted sensing, power sensing, is very much based in the present. Through time, NI. A little bit like static and dynamic. Eliciting. Is that clearing? Goal installation, changing timelines. Oh, there's also uptime and downtime. Uptime is like having all of your attention outside of yourself, and downtime is like an internal attention. So that's another aspect of it. Right. Trance. What is trance? Right then, different examples of that. Waking access difficulties, self-hypnosis, revivification. Revivification, you're bringing back dead people. Controversial, NLP. Induction, suggestions, formats for change work. Right, and then the last one, neurological levels. I don't know what relation that has to Dr. G. And his levels, maybe perceptual positions like first person, second person, third person. Maybe you want to re-examine and experience from a different position. Satire categories, I don't know what those are. Resolve, modeling, coaching with NLP. That is an overview. And I've mentioned the meta model before. Yeah, I'll bloody well will close it, and then I'll come back. So that is an overview. NLP. I'm going to end it now and send it